I'm not sure if we did talk about this. If we did talk about it, just let me know. A question for you guys here would be, if you have to install an application in a server, what would you do?
Don't you create the role or attach the role to the server first?
I would double click on a file, an executable file, and install it.
Okay, and what else? This is a Linux machine, so I understand this. Double click the file and install it. Okay, fair enough. Now, if you are asked to do the same job on 10 servers, what will you do?
There has to be a way to do it all at the same time.
How? Any
You
thought?
copy it.
How do you copy it?
Would you automate the task?
Yes, so the right word of what I was looking at is automation. So I'm going to automate it. So can AWS help me in automating it? So that is what we will be looking at now, probably 15 minutes at the max. Let me create a new server now again. I shouldn't have deleted this, technically speaking. Let me say new and let me open the ports HTTPS. Okay, perfect. Let me launch an instance. Now I have created the instance, a simple instance again, not a major thing what I have done. I am trying to connect to this guy, copy this command, come over the terminal, paste it here, and then see. It's refused because I still don't have the server online completely. Now the server is online. I am in. Now let us say I need to install a web server or I need to configure a web application on this particular server. So what do I do? The first and foremost step what I do is, as soon as I deploy a new machine on AWS or any cloud platform, is updating my packages. How do I do that? I say yum update -y. And this way I am updating my entire repository. If you guys aren't aware, yum is a repository based command. So this helps me in ensuring that all the packages are up to date in my setup. Okay, so once you're done with that, now I need to install a server. I need to install my web application. So what do I do there? I say sudo yum install. I'll just take the service package name HTTPD because that is a web application or a web application package I can use for creating my website. So I'll say yum install HTTPD -y. I hit enter, it is going to install my package in Linux machine. The way you told, double click the package which works in Windows, the same way in Linux I normally use the command based CLI and then use this. So once I install the package, I'll have to start the package. So for starting the package, I will use the command systemctl enable HTTPD and then I will start HTTPD. So these are the two commands what I execute. So now the last command is just to verify whether my package is started or not. So I just do a status. If you look at this, it says I am in running and enable state. So these are the commands what I historically do for installing a web application. So how many commands did we use? We predominantly used about 4 commands for getting it done, or 5 commands. So 4 commands. So now can I automate my now this is what I have to do, and I have a target of doing it on 10 different servers. So can I do it manually like this on all 10 servers? Yes, I can do it, but the problem with that is it's time consuming. So when Amazon gives me an option to automate stuff, so why can't I utilize that? Is what we'll be discussing now. So let me come back to my AWS page, click on EC2, and then come down to launch an instance. So now let me say web, and I'll say like this. Okay, and I'll be using Amazon Linux. I'll not change anything here. Everything remains the same for me. I will enable these two ports here. And let me scroll down. I have something called as advanced details here. Let me click on advanced details. 1 minute, guys. Okay, so let me click on advanced details. You have tons of information here. I will not go through that at this time. When time comes, we'll go through each one of them. But when I scroll down completely, you have something called as user data. This is the section where I can use automation. So I just go ahead and write a small shell script. I am not sure if you guys are aware of shell script, but if not, for now, just look at it like executing it in this format. So I said hash exclamation mark /bin/bash. So in this, the first line talks about I am trying to define this file name or file type. I'm calling it with something called as a shebang. So I call these two characters together, I call them as a shebang. And then I'm giving bin bash. This is nothing but my terminal or my shell prompt, what I want to use. So I'm going to use a bash shell prompt. So if you remember, we just gave 4 commands. The first command is sudo yum update -y to update your repository. Then I did sudo yum install httpd -y. And then I said sudo systemctl enable httpd, and lastly I said sudo systemctl start httpd. So these are the commands what we executed. Am I right?
Yes.
So I will just do the same thing here, and then I will change this number of instances. Let's say it is at 1. Let me give it 3, and then let me say launch instance. Now if you look at it, just give it about 34. You can see 3 different IDs are visible for you here, which indicates that you are creating 3 instances in one go. If I come back to my instances, if you look at it, you have your instance IDs coming up here. Just for a better understanding purpose, I will change this guy to web1, and I'll change this guy to web2. So this tells me that I've got 3 web servers that are configured. So just give it about 30 seconds time for the application to be loaded. Now, how do you verify that we have the package installed in it?
Is it
So I exit, I connect to
out
my
of them?
server.
You
Guys, whatever it is, tell it out. There's nothing like right or wrong. We are learning, so we learn.
When you would type status, correct?
Yes. So I would say first one is systemctl status httpt. Hit enter. You can see it is in running state. Okay. And the other thing what I can verify is rpm -qa pipe grep -I httpd. You will see the package is installed. You can do this as an exercise for you guys today. When you're practicing it, you can first create a a normal instance without any automation stuff, run the same command, execute the same command to identify if your HTTP package is installed or not. You would not see any package coming up with the name, with this particular name. And then after you do the automation or after you install it manually, you will see this coming up, and even this is coming up for you in this format. So as another exercise, what you can also do is, if you remember here, we gave start HTTPD. In your automation script, avoid giving start, and then try to do a systemctl status HTTPD. You might not be seeing this in a running state. So try multiple options, and then the more you practice, that it becomes more, you become more confident in what you're doing. Make sense, guys?
Yes.
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 Okay, great. So this is one thing what I wanted to show you guys today, in terms of automating stuff. But this is just a simple thing what we have seen. We have a lot of things to do in this in this use case. And the other way also, what you can look at is, once you select your instance here, go to actions, click on get system log. So when you click on get system log, it will take about a minute or two for the logs to be populated. When you're verifying this, or it's an interview question for you guys. So when you're verifying this, in the interview, people might ask you, hey, I have connected an instance, I've started an instance, but I do not see anything coming up. I'm not able to connect to my instance. Why? So when you say that it's not coming up, is there a way for you to verify it? These things might not work in your setup, because it's a free account or a free tier what you guys are using. Only enterprise level customers will get this option, where when you enable this, you will be getting your entire system log getting generated here. But yes, this is another other a place where you can go ahead and then start looking at your system logs, and then identify if something is going wrong. Make sense? Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So these are the different ways of how you can review it before your system gets connected. Now, let me, before I forget, terminate these three guys. Okay, fair enough. So one good thing what we have seen, how do I automate my instance creation? Amazing. So the next one I want to talk about is networking. So what do you understand by networking, and then why do you think that is important in terms of your server administration? Okay, before we talk about networking in terms of IT, in general, what do you mean by networking?
Connecting to the people or the resources around you.
Okay, so
Creating a community of people that are interested in the same thing you're interested in, learning from each other or helping each other out.
perfect. And great. So we say that is networking, right? So now if you and I are creating a network, or if you and I are talking to each other creating a network, how are we doing it? We are doing it through a common language or a common medium of language like English, right? And that is how we are establishing and then talking to each other and getting a networking established and moving forward. But in a computer world, how can that happen? Is my question clear? Why everybody is silent?
Can you repeat that for me, please?
Okay. So now when the answer what I got for networking is communicating between a community, or now in this case, we are learning, and then we are networking here. So to enhance your skills, or whatever you want to call it. So the way we are communicating, or the reason why we are able to create a network here or calling it as networking is because we are able to talk to each other in a common medium like English, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So
Correct.
now, if the same concept, if I have to talk about in terms of your computers or servers, how is that possible?
It would be like through coding, correct?
Networking them together.
Okay, networking together, but how do they talk to each other? What do we call it there? And then how do they talk to each other? What
Establish a
language
connection.
what language does your system understand?
Commands.
Um,
Okay. The first and foremost thing, the servers do not understand any language.
ones and zeros.
Numbers.
Yes. They are all in a binary format. They only understand binary format. Am I right?
Right.
It is only 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 is what they understand. So whenever you type your commands or whenever we talk about coding and everything, all of these things are converted into a binary format in the background. Alphabet A will have a binary format, B will have a binary format, everything will have a binary format which is converted, and then you will be given, and that is how your commands are executed. Does any one of you learn any of the instruments like piano, keyboard, guitar, or anything of that sort here? Any of the musical instruments you guys were into?
Nope.
Okay, no worries. So the reason I ask that is whenever you talk about the music, the artists who perform on musical instruments, they have a separate notes given to them with all waves and all the other stuff, so that they understand where I have to stress more and where I have to leave it easy, stuff like that. So similar to that, even in your computer world, when we look at it, the entire thing, whatever we write, is converted into binary format and then saved. A simple example, just to make it clear for you guys. Now you might be using a Word document. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
So in your Word document, you create your resume and then you share it with me. So how am I able to open that Word document in my laptop, which was created in your laptop? Simple reason, once you have saved your file, there is an address that is created for your file with binary format in it. And as soon as I try to open it, I understand that binary format and open it because I have the application installed in my laptop also. Sometimes if you don't have your Microsoft Word installed, you try to open up a Word document. It gives you all junk characters like 0 0 0 1 1 1. You might have seen it, right?
Yes.
So that is nothing but we'll see what is this junk coming up. It's nothing but ones and zeros in it. That's it. In all crooked or in all distorted way. So that is how your system understands. So when we come back to our main topic of networking, we rely on something called as handshake between the servers. So what do you understand by handshake?
Uh, it's a connection.
Yes, so Anil extends a handshake and then says hi to one of you. Only when you give it back to me, Anil will feel happy that okay, this person is ready to talk to me, right? And if you don't give me back the handshake, it looks like you're arrogant, or I don't and you don't want to talk to me, and hence you're not extending your hand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. So similarly, when we have two servers, A and B, talking to each other, let me try to see if I can increase this a little more for you guys. Yeah. If A and B are talking to each other, A will send some request to B. Only when B acknowledge that request, that is when the communication is complete. So A says hi to B responds back stating hi to A acknowledges it. So in your computer world, in your server technology world, in your AWS, whatever world you look at it, if you want a successful communication between server A and server B, server A sends a request to server B has to acknowledge it and send the acknowledgement back to server A, and server A acknowledges the receipt of the acknowledgement. So in this format, I complete the networking there. Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. Now, when you do this, we have understood how basic networking works out. So what are the important components of networking? Any guesses?
You talking about the hardware side?
Everything what you know. Just throw it at me.
NIC card,
Mm-hmm.
networking card, IP address,
Mm-hmm.
switch,
Mm-hmm.
router.
I was just about to say that switch or router is one and the same. Router is for home-based things, switch is for enterprise.
Okay. Let me see.
With route, you have something else coming up. Can any one of you guess what it is? Routing table. I'll talk about it. Don't worry, I'll talk about it. And what else? Did you guys ever hear about something called as ports?
Ports, yeah.
And
What about VLANs?
okay, very good. Okay, so let's talk about these topics now. So NIC card, what does this mean? Why do I need a NIC card?
That will allow you to connect your Ethernet cable to
Okay.
your port or switch or router.
Okay. Then how am I connecting my Wi-Fi? If this says I need an Ethernet cable, how am I connecting to Wi-Fi?
Using a router or switch, right?
Yeah, but okay, now your laptop is there. I'm connected to my laptop. I don't have any Ethernet cable here, but I'm still connected to my Wi-Fi. So do I need any hardware component inside my laptop for connecting to my Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Will it be a NIC card?
You need a wireless card, right?
Yep. So can my NIC card act as a wireless card, or will I have a separate wireless card for it?
You would have to have a separate wireless card.
Okay. So few of the NIC cards allow you for both cable and your wireless connections. Few of the hardware you need to have a separate Wi-Fi card. Okay,
Right.
so fair enough. So now when I connect to my when I connect my Ethernet cable to my laptop, or when I'm connected to my Wi-Fi, what is the first thing that gets assigned to me? This is the first software component that gets associated. Can I call IP address a software component?
Yeah, I guess so.
It is a software component because there's nothing to do with hardware.
Okay.
So once you have a hardware connected, either your Wi-Fi or your NIC card, you have the IP address associated with it, and then you connect to it.
Correct.
Now, why do you need a switch or a router? Again, a hardware component. So why do you need a switch or a hardware? Or why do you need a switch or a router?
so that they can connect the networks together, so you help them help the networks to communicate together
So when you say
and
network communicate,
route information.
okay, okay, but when you say networks communicate together, so what does that mean?
It means they get to talk to each other, get to
For that,
share.
I don't. Okay, now, okay, let me ask you this question. So now you and I are talking to each other using Google Meet today. Are we
Yeah.
connected to the same switch or router?
You say,
You're in US, I am in India, right?
right,
So we are not connected to the same router or switch, correct?
correct.
It provides routing information, absolutely correct, no denying to it. But why do I need a switch or a router?
Would it be so it could connect like for the distance? It travel farther?
Okay, that is your VLAN or WLAN. Okay, so switch or router is to have multiple devices connected to the same network. What do you understand by this? Let's talk about a router for now. Let's not talk about a switch. I'll extend it to it. So when I say a router, this is something what all of you have at your home. Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So why do you think I need to have a router? Okay, simple example, guys. Are you staying alone or do you have a family with you guys? You might have friends or family with you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, and do you take a separate connection for every member in your family?
No,
Or
No.
you take
No.
one connection for all of them in the family?
for everyone.
It's for everyone, right?
Yes,
Now, when everyone are doing it, so you have more than one person connecting or contacting your network connection, right?
correct.
So how are they getting all that information? That is using your router. Because whenever you purchase a router, they would say we would support 32 connections at one time, 64 connections at one time. I am not sure if you have ever seen a not a Wi-Fi router, a LAN router. One of you were saying that I will connect a Ethernet cable, right?
Correct.
So how many cable connections can you put in there in your router? 4 connections, 8 connections, like that. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So what does that mean? At one point in time, I can connect 4 or 6 or 8 hardware devices to my LAN router. Am I right?
Correct.
But are you saying that I'm going to connect to them just to talk between 6 of you guys or 4 of you guys?
No, you connect it to them so you can connect to the internet.
Yes. So this router this router, what we are talking about, is not utilized for talking to internal team. It is used for you to go online to the internet world. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. So now what is a switch then? Router, we saw it's one way or the other for home purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be for your home purpose, your coffee shops, your restaurants, other stuff where you might not have too many people connecting to it, or too much load coming onto it. There, this works absolutely fine. So yeah, this works for us. But what is a switch?
A switch allow the devices to communicate together.
No, forget about the concept of devices communicating to each other. Keep that aside for a minute. So switch is more applicable when we are talking about a server level management. Okay, I'll
Would
make it
it be
simple. Go ahead.
Would it be to pick and choose exactly where it wants to connect?
No, that comes up in the routing section. Okay, now let us say you are living in an area where there are 1,000 houses. Okay, and just as an example, AT&T is the service provider for you guys for that area. Now, each one of you have got a router at your house, which is provided by AT&T, correct? And you're getting your internet. So if there is some issue with if there's some issue with internet, let's say one of you give a complaint that internet is not working, what will AT&T do?
Reset it?
So will they do it from their office location or will they come down to your place for resetting it?
They would
They
do it.
should be able to do it in offer location.
Yeah,
So they'll be doing it from their office itself, correct?
correct.
So there is some software component which is helping them to reset your area, your network connection sitting at their place. Am I right?
Correct.
So how is that happening? Now AT&T, we are just talking about one area, but probably you might have more than millions of customers across the country. Am I right?
Correct.
So how are they managing every one of them? And they will not be sending for every request, they'll not be sending a physical person at your place to resolve the issues, correct? They don't even have, no one will have so much of employee base to send people physically for every small issues, correct?
Correct.
So what do? They place switches at places where, okay, I'll put like this, places based on the requirements. Now let us say one switch, I'm not sure if you have ever seen this or not. You will be getting a wired a fiber cable or something like that connected to the router at your place, right? When you look at your Wi-Fi router at your place, it has a cable behind it, right? Which gives you the internet.
Correct.
Yes.
And that is coming from the connection of AT&T switch that is outside your house. Am I right?
Yes.
You might not be knowing it because it might be cabled and completely from internal cabling, but there is something outside your house which is giving you this internet, right? So for every area, the network provider gives a switch, and that switch has a number of ports again, like 32 ports, 64, 128, 256, whatever it is. They keep that particular box in one particular location and distribute the network to all of you guys, all of the houses in that location separately. So that particular switch helps me to connect multiple devices at one time. And all these devices can go on to the internet directly. Making sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay, good. So similar to this, when I talk about a server world, when I talk about google.com website, do you think Google will just have one server which is hosting google.com?
No.
No, it needs to have multiple servers because this particular website is being accessed across the globe. So if we have only one server in US and I sitting in India, if I'm going to open google.com, I'm going to see a lot of latency happening, correct? So to avoid that, they have multiple network switches. If I go to my terminal now and then do a ping test for google.com. So can you see I'm getting 142, 250, 70, 78 IP address. One of you can also do the same test in the background. Then let me know if you're seeing the same IP address or a different IP address. You can do a test right away and then let me know. Are you seeing same IP address or a different IP address? Any one of you can test it.
I'm on my regular PC.
Yes.
Hold on one second.
Said, are you using a Windows
Oh, you
machine
think,
or
okay, I see where we're going. Hold on one second.
I got multiple addresses.
yes, but are you seeing the same address?
Yeah.
Are you seeing
Ah.
142, 250, 70, 78 IP address there?
42.
I got the same one you got. Oh, no, I don't. No, mine's different. Mine's different.
Yours is different, right?
Yeah, it's 142 is the first octet. Then I have 251, and then I got 116, and then 102.
So 142 is the primary octet. Very good word. I'll be talking about this octets also in tomorrow's class. I'll be extending this networking class. Will go on for at least 2 or 3 sessions. So the first octet might be the same, but the second, third, and fourth octet will change for us. And this depends on where you are. And now if you look at the time that is taking, it says 27 milliseconds is what it is taking for the request to complete between my system and google.com. So when I'm pinging google.com, did I give the IP address?
No.
I gave google.com a normal term. So in the background, this got converted into the IP address using something called as domain name service, DNS. That helped me to convert google.com, go on to the internet, and then identify what is the DNS name for DNS IP for google.com, and then it gave me this. So now if you look at this, now earlier it said 142, 250, 70, 78. Now it is saying 142, 250, 90, 195, 206. Let me do it again. It gives me the same IP. If I do a ping, can you see the IP got changed within 5 minutes?
Yes.
So these are called as dynamic IPs.
Dynamic.
Yes.
That just means it can change, right?
It will change.
Yeah.
And okay. First, before I jump the guns, did you guys understand what is a switch?
Yes.
You understood what is a router and a switch, right?
Correct.
Now let us go to our IP address. So the IP address is something what we said it get assigned to it. So IP addresses are of 2 types, dynamic IPs and static IP. So what do you understand by the basic English definition of dynamic and static?
Static IP address will stay the same, and dynamic will change from a pool of IP addresses.
So where do you, what do you think are the instances where I'll be using only private, I'll be using a static IP and I'll be using a dynamic IP?
On a server, you will use a static IP address. You also may use it in maybe in a printer or copier, and then a dynamic IP address is possible to be using for host on a network.
Okay. Any other example?
So every time somebody particularly log on and log off, they may get a different address than dynamic IP address.
Okay. So fair enough. All the answers are correct. Just to add on to it, whenever you have a global application, I use a dynamic IP. For example, you want to log into any of the banking website. I can't have one static IP address for a banking website because that becomes easier for intruders to get into my network, right?
Right.
So I keep changing my IP address every now and then. So wherever you see a public facing domain and which is widely used by people like google.com, your Microsoft websites or any other bing.com, anything like this, they will be using dynamic IPs. Whereas whenever you as an application team or as a database team or as a system admin team want to use any of your servers for your management purpose, then we use a static IP address. I don't want to dynamically keep changing my IP address every now and then of my server. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that is the reason why we use static and dynamic IPs. Now, what is a routing table?
Is that like a pool of IP addresses,
No,
or is that a route that it takes
Sim-
to get to the destination?
simple example. Yeah, you are close. Yes, I call you stating, hey, I'm in US now. I want to visit you. So what will you tell me?
I will give you directions and on how to get
Oh,
to me.
okay. So I am new to US. I have no idea what it is. Even though you give me directions, will I be able to come?
Um,
You give me a Google Map location, right?
correct,
Which is going to route me to your house.
correct.
Fair enough?
Yes.
Similar to that, when you are trying to connect, now if you look at the example what we have seen of google.com, if I say IP space A in my, okay, if config minus A. Now, if you look at the IP address, blah, 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 where is the IP address? Okay, the IP address, what you see here is what series? It is
192.168.
192. But when I did a ping for google.com, what is the IP address that came up here?
142.50.
So both of them are different families, right?
Correct.
Similar to I coming from India to US, you're giving me a Google map to come to your place. Similar to that, it's 192 and 142 different segments altogether. But how can they talk to each other? That is
Um,
using your route table.
okay.
That is using your routing table now. So this routing table will help us communicate different network IPs amongst each other.
Okay.
So if 192 series guy wants to talk to 142 series guy, 142 series guy should allow 192 series to talk to it. Make sense?
Yes.
Great. So that is what your routing table is all about. And then we will, I think I'll probably stop here for today because it's too much of theoretical knowledge. Tomorrow when we connect, I will show you some examples and then I will show you how do you create your own network components in cloud.